back to my channel. Sorry for the long time since my last major upload. These videos take so long to make. But anyway, since I covered the 3 generations that are in the Game Boy line, I figured that I may as well cover every main group member that is from these generations. So before I decided to cover the DS era, that'll be fun. To clarify, my AU revolves around primarily 18 people with 18 types and a protagonist rival duo. 18 types, 18 heroes, and if I did my math right, 9 pairs of 2. I did not do this right, did I? We'll see. Naturally, I'm going to be starting with Generation 1, with Kanto, which means I will be covering Red and Blue. Well, specifically Red, because he's my boy, I adore him, and all that fun stuff. Frankly, I love Dylan more, but the point is we're covering Red first. Jesus, why do I have to beat around the bush so much? Sorry, I've done like 16 takes. You'll have to forgive me. I need a proper format first for this series. That's all that this is for, so I don't simp or get off the rails completely. Or so a cat doesn't try and ruin my day. Anyway, pause to read. Quick warning though, these sorts of videos will frequently touch on very serious subjects. I refuse to baby each and any person watching my video. I don't know why I said it like that. You guys are not babies anymore. If you're not an adult or you can't handle it and you're watching this, why are you here? None of this is for kids for a very explicit reason. All of these videos will probably get very dark in some way. Now let's just get this started before this becomes too bleak. If that garage is close to killing a man because of that fucking door. Like in the manga, Red was born August 8th, and I made his birth year 1986, so he'd be 10 to 11 years old in 96. I literally changed his first and last name, but made Red a nickname. His full name is Kokivo, spelled Kokkivo. Rosie, spelled Rosi, because Greek names are difficult, apparently. But to make it easier to understand who I'm referring to, I'll just call him Red. This perfectly transitions into his new ethnicity. Red is half Japanese from his father's side, and half Greek from his mother's side. Well, he was born on Japanese soil, one of the first in his generation. Naturally, Red chooses a Charmander as his starter, who he named Clark after Superman, because there's a thing in this universe, if you don't like it, then you can fight me. I will probably not win. Red is very, very gay. Like, he is literally a homosexual. He uses he/him pronouns, is a cis male, and lives with his spouse, Ethan. Because fuck you, that's why. You can't judge me for my ships unless it's, like, awful. Red is generally very quiet around people he doesn't like or doesn't trust. Basically, he's selectively mute, only talking to a specific group of people or unless he literally has to for his work. Can come off as a misanthrope because of this, and he does self-identify, even though he does quite like other people and their Pokémon. But with his support system, as in the rest of the group, he can be very dorky. Quiet, but dorky. Dorky. Can I please say shit right? He's more professional in his tone when at work or when he absolutely needs to talk. He tries mainly to come off as friendly, but like he knows what he's doing. That's important, by the way, because he's a veterinarian. If he has to interact with people he doesn't like, he's more likely to intentionally not mask his autism in hopes that it gets people to leave him alone. His closest friends and family are, well, Brendan is his friend, Ethan, his spouse, Blue, his best friend, Himri, his mother, Silver, his adopted brother, Leaf is his sister, younger sister, Elio is cousin but legally his kid. Long story, we'll get there when we get there. And Lance is his adopted father. Overall, Red has a strong support system. He just tends to be very snippy or quiet around them. Like me. Lord knows I have a support system that I barely use because I'm always like, what is wrong with me? Why am I telling you this? This is very personal. Anyway. I named his mother Himari Rosie. Again, R-O-S-I, Rosie. I think that in canon, Red and his mother have a good relationship, so it's likely that she was actually a good mother figure throughout childhood. Wait, I said she was Greek. Why she got a Japanese name? When her parents moved to Kanto from the Olive region, they made the decision to give their children Japanese names in hopes that it would prevent bullying. Himari, when she had her kids, gave them Greek first names, thus Kokivo. She is a very caring mother, and she taught her son to have a strong sense of justice and care for the well-being of both people and Pokémon. At least one of those was successful. The only problem is that she had Red at the way too young age of 17 because his father did unspeakable acts to her that I will not elaborate on. I'll trust you to put the pieces together because I don't want to. His biological father was, in the most respectful way possible, he was a piece of shit. His name was Orochi Saito, Japanese. He was a religious zealot, leading a group called the Church of Lord Helix. He was all about anarchy, and yet he was very controlling of Red and Himari and would punish them if they were not chaotic enough. Red actually doesn't remember Orochi very well, though. He died in 95, a year before his journey began. His church actually attempted to attack the Elite Four and actually successfully killed 2 members, resulting in Lance and Lorelei being promoted from gym leader to Elite Four member. But that's not what got him arrested. He forced himself on Himari a second time, with very careful planning on Red's end in collaboration with Himari, and then Red called the police from Blue's house, which is how they linked Orochi to the deaths of the 2 Elite Four members. He was sentenced to death, but he escaped and tried to swim to the mainland. So then he drowned, and Red, a Greek boy who lives on an island, became afraid of the open ocean, which is ironic. Fortunately, in 96, he would meet Lance. During his time during Red's time as champion, the two became very close. This eventually resulted in Red actually calling Lance dad, and as a result, Lance immediately wanted to legally actually be his dad. He did get permission from Himari and signed papers saying, yes, I am this child's legal guardian. So at least Red has a positive male influence. That's good. That's always good. He's not fatherless. Red really likes nerdy things, especially robotics and video games that are unbelievably difficult. Like, he's the type of guy to play Dark Souls for fun, but be bored to death playing a Mario game. especially a modern one. Actually, he has a special interest in Mega Man, particularly. When he was a kid, he'd take old or unusable electronics and try turning them into robots. I mean, half the time, all he made was fire, but that did not stop him. When making his own electronics as an adult, though, he has difficulty not making it look like it's ripped straight out of Mega Man. But for his customers, that's usually a selling point. Most of his stuff is meant to help both people and Pokemon. When he learned that Pokemon can need robotics or that robotics can be applied to Pokemon, he also very quickly became interested in Pokemon medicine. So then his goal became be a veterinarian. He skipped a grade and used his psychic abilities to help himself through school to get in the best college he possibly could, which ended up being Charvard. Obviously, it's meant to be Harvard. And eventually University of Winden to get his interregional veterinary license, allowing him to practice veterinary medicine around the world. That aside, he also loves more gritty, emo/goth styles, on top of a fair amount of dark humor. Not offensive, just dark. He is his group's king of gallows humor. He has the INFJ turbulent personality type and is a Leo for those who are curious. Personally, I'm not the type of person to judge someone entirely based on their Myers-Briggs test result or their zodiac, but if you are one of them, that's fine. It's not my thing. He's quite steadfast and loyal, and doesn't take other people's bullshit very lightly. He's very smart, and thankfully uses that brain of his for good, because he'd be terrifying if he were evil. He has crippling thalassophobia, but he does eventually start trying to face his fear by the time the Alola games come around. He also has problems with letting little things get to him or overthinking, even if it's for a good reason. He also very much struggles with self-worth and will not let other people be proud of his accomplishments as a trainer. His goals are more focused on his science. And he finds it hard to stay calm if he's known for something that isn't that. He became a strong trainer to do the right thing. He never wanted to be known as the living legend that we all know him as. These flaws frequently cloud his judgment. He is practicing telling himself to stop and calm the hell down, but I don't think it's a habit yet. You be the judge in that, I guess. He used to be the Indigo League champion. This placed him and the Elite Four basically in charge of Kanto and Johto and its safety. That's a lot of pressure on a kid who is still in school and had unreasonably high expectations for himself. And then shit hit the fan when almost the entire population of Cinnabar Island fucking died in a volcanic explosion that Red warned the others about because his psychic typing was going batshit insane and nobody listened because he was like 13. Overwhelmed by guilt, Red left the league and gave the title to Lance. He doesn't like to talk about this aspect of his life because of that. He's a veterinarian and roboticist by trade. Those are his main areas of expertise. He usually takes commissions from people to make random robots and fixing electronics for a cheaper price when he's not helping animals. He also makes bedroom stuff for a price, pays well, don't judge him. He's also developed other new alternatives to medicine, like edible vaccines that don't require a needle. It helps trick anti-vaxxers into vaccinating their goddamn Pokemon. I think it's brilliant. If you don't like it, you can suck an egg. Due to all this, though, Red never was and never will be safe. in the sense that Pokemon just gravitate to him and it causes chaos, like, all the fucking time. Like, imagine waking up one day and there's some random Pokemon outside your window. Crazy shit. I've said this like twice now, but Red's a psychic type. Different types manifest in different ways. Some people can only read minds, some can levitate. Red is Vanellope on crack with the sight of Deadpool. God's fault, not his. God literally decided, you know what would be funny? If we experimented on humans to see how strong they can be. 151 tests later, and 18 people now have borderline godlike power. The only problem is, Red is aware of this, in some capacity, and does not worship Arceus. Until the game's, somewhat, until the game Splatoon was released, the Calamari incantation basically made him realize, shit, God really is a shitty person. You laugh, but I spent literal years working on this, and this is what I ended up with. If you don't like it, make your own AU with blackjack and hookers. You're more than welcome to do that. No one's stopping you. He's autistic, he has anxiety, he's afraid of open water, and his brain refuses to let him remember his own father, which may be a form of dissociative amnesia. He'll never know. He doesn't go actively looking for this sort of information. Because again, he was a piece of shit. Because Orochi was a piece of shit. He bounces his leg, he picks at his skin and his hair. He occasionally does compulsive hand washing, and will occasionally self-harm using biting and scratching. He will bite or scratch himself to the point of almost drawing blood. He's also very prone to choosing violence and losing his temper at just people. And that was the video. Like, sub, etc. There's stuff in the description if you are so inclined. This is like my 17th, 18th take. I'll see you next time. See ya. Okay.